host a press conference for the shooting that happened at the mall yesterday. Chief of Police is going to speak for a little bit, and then the General Manager of the mall, Rob Shennick, is going to say a few words, and then they're going to be available for questioning. So if we can just wait till after they've spoken for your questions. Okay? Thank you.
Good morning to you. We are here to discuss the incident involving the shooting yesterday at Destiny USA. First, let me say that I know that this was a very chaotic incident, very, very disturbing to our mall patrons that were in the mall, or if you had family that was there and you were not actually on the scene. I can only imagine how terrifying that is to hear that there are shots that have been fired in that location, and we certainly understand the gravity of that moment. We had several police officers that were assigned to that detail. There was actually extra staff given the Black Friday detail that was a part of our footprint in the mall that certainly helped during this incident. The extra security was part of a pre-plan that we already had in place, and we believe that the officers' quick response to the location, literally within seconds of the incident coming out, that we were able to get there on the scene. Destiny USA is also part of a training location that we've used several times to prepare our officers for moments like this, and we certainly feel like that this helped us during this incident. Before I go into our timeline, I'd like to give some thanks to individuals that made this what we believe is a success, that nothing more serious actually happened as a result of the incident. First, for the officers who courageously, with disregard for their own safety, that responded very quickly to that location and were able to gain control of the crowd that was chaotic, trying to flee that scene. That was very, very helpful to bring some sort of calm to the individuals that were there to actually see the officers there on scene so quickly. Also like to thank the surrounding agencies. A number of different police agencies responded to the scene because, as you can probably imagine, some of the initial reports that came out that the thought was that this was actually an active shooter. That was not the case. This was not also a random act of violence. This was individuals that had some sort of dispute with each other that resulted in this assault. Also would like to thank the mall employees. There were a countless number of stores that went into their security protocol that gave patrons an opportunity to secure inside their individual locations. They actually went in some sort of lockdown, for lack of a better phrase, with many of these stores that were able to give comfort to some of the patrons within their individual stores. Now I will go into the timeline of the incident as to how it occurred, and then give you an update as to where we sit today. Yesterday, on the 29th, at approximately 7:07 p.m., the call came out for a shots fired within the Destiny USA. Within seconds, we arrived on scene there, the location being the food court area, which was directly across from Cage Jewelers, is where the actual assault took place. There were no victims immediately found. When we initially responded, we could not find victims, and there was even misinformation that went out that there was possibly even fireworks and not an actual shooting there on the scene. Was part of our initial information. As the scene unfolded, we were able to locate a 20-year-old male that had suffered multiple gunshot wounds to the leg. This victim was transported to Upstate Hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. Shortly thereafter, Criminal Investigations Division was on scene. We began canvassing both the mall and the surrounding areas. This included taking a look at, as you could probably imagine, a lot of video that was able to get information off there very quickly. Also, the community gave information about description of the suspects. Many citizens also pointed us in the right direction as to the exit to which the suspects used to get out of the mall. As a result of this investigation, we very quickly developed suspect information. As it turns out, the individuals were involved in a traffic accident where information was broadcast to our uniform division. They very quickly learned that the individuals inside the traffic accident fit the description of the individuals that was broadcast by the police officers there on the scene, and we developed suspect information. As a result of that investigation, a suspect was arrested. a young man by the name of Kyrie Truax. He is 21 years of age, of the city of Syracuse. He was charged with criminal possession of a weapon, second degree, assault, second degree, and reckless endangerment in the first degree. He's currently lodged in our Justice Center. Going forward, we have increased our footprint at the Destiny USA Mall, both inside and outside the location. We want our citizens to know that the mall is open for business. We certainly feel like that it is safe to return to that location. They are prepared to increase on the inside. We've increased our outside presence, so you will see a high visibility there within the mall footprint area. We continue to do our investigation to finalize everything with this, to make sure that we've dotted our I's and crossed our T's with this investigation. We will also continue to monitor to make sure that there are no further incidents within the mall, because we understand that the public will certainly have some level of anxiety, or maybe even a little bit of fear in coming back to the location. We ask the public that if, going forward, that if you have information about individuals that are in the mall or any location, such as things that are going on during this holiday season, that if you have information that you think that we need to know, please provide that to us so that we can try to prevent incidents such as this. And then we're also currently in the process of working on some community counseling services to provide to the community, where they will be able to go to a location or call a number to receive services as a result of the incident that occurred yesterday. There were many young people, women, seniors, citizens of all walks of life that were in the mall yesterday. That this was obviously very, very disturbing to them, so we certainly don't want to underestimate the impact that this potentially had on the individuals that were both there and who had family members there as a result of going through this. At this time, we will bring the general manager now up from Destiny USA to have him give a few words.
Good morning, everybody. Again, I'm Rob Shennick, General Manager over at Destiny. Thank you for being here this morning. I'll echo a lot of what Chief Buckner already has said. The incident that happened last night, we plan and prepare and have for years to take the right actions in the event that something like this ever happened. And we're very proud of the fact that things went down just according to plan. We had a lot of Syracuse police officers in the building, including Sergeant Abbott over on my right and Sergeant Malinowski. They were part of our detail yesterday and have been for years. Everybody reacted just the way we expected them to react, and it resulted in a very quick arrest. And as Chief Buckner said, we're also very pleased with the way our tenants and our guests reacted to the situation. So we were able to get the information out over our PA system through multiple ways that we've practiced and trained for years. And listening to the police officers that were there that night, they were very complimentary of the way our tenants all reacted and handled the situation. And that comes from years and years of training and practice. So, and we'll continue to do that as we move forward. So again, thank you to Chief Buckner and his department and all the other departments that responded. I know I got word that the Onondaga Sheriff's Department were helping direct traffic, the state police showed up. And again, these are all agencies that participate with us and our teams in those drills that we do throughout the years.
We'll take your questions at this time.
Chief, a few
Yes, sir.
fact questions. How many shots total were fired?
We don't know exactly how many shots were fired. I could tell you that the young man who was a victim, it appears that he was shot twice. But the exact number of shots that were fired with that's undetermined at this time, and part of some of those continuing questions that we hope to answer.
You mentioned that cops have been added to the mall. Can you tell us how many or more specifics on that?
Well, I'm not going to go into specific numbers. I can just tell you that we've increased upon what we had yesterday, and then yesterday was even a beefed up staffing because it was Black Friday and we knew what to expect for the holidays, but we've increased beyond that, but I won't go into details as to what that number is, but it does include both an inside and outside contingency.
Mr. Shennick, do you guys plan for events like this, for shooting events? Do you have a set group of procedures for your tenants, or was this kind of out of routine?
We have planned for these types of events for years, as they've happened across other areas across the country. And we practice about every 2 months with all of our tenants, where they'll be closing their gates and we talked through how to safely evacuate the building or shelter in place. And we've done that for years and years. And it was really a great testament to that planning and practice as to how things went down last night.
This is the second attack in 2 years. Last year, the mall said in a statement that it was an isolated incident. Are these now isolated incidents, or are these regular occurrences?
I think this is part of the footprint of what we see not only in Syracuse but in our country, in the world today, that when you look at the number of officers that we had, there was a part of a security plan there, countless number of police officers everywhere you turn, you see that, but you still can't necessarily prevent things from happening. You would hope that your training would allow you to mitigate circumstances in the event that they do happen, but no amount of officers, training, preparation will make you 100% proof from something like this from occurring. To your question to say, is this a pattern? I don't think there's a pattern. When you talk about 2 incidents that have occurred, this was obviously came out for many people with misinformation that was thought to be an active shooter. This was not the case. This was the result of individuals who had a dispute that it culminated or climaxed there in the mall. That's unfortunate. But I still think that the mall is very, very safe, and we certainly have proven that when you look at the information of how many days, how many people that go through there every day without incident. I would say the Destiny USA is a safe location.
Chief, can you tell us any more about the altercation between the 2 people, if there was animosity there?
I don't know what started that beef between those 2 individuals. Obviously, there's some sort of pre-existing relationship that we believe that resulted in that. That's part of the ongoing things that we will certainly hope to bring about. And obviously, we have to prosecute this case in court. So there are some things that I'm aware of that I'm not able to speak on because we still have to get a conviction with this young man, which is the ultimate success for us to be able to hold someone accountable for those actions. I think it's too early to make that kind of statement. Yeah. Yes, ma'am.
Heard in the evacuation of the mall, we have heard that one person might have been evaluated after a fall.
I'm not aware of a specific incident involving a fall. Certainly when you're talking about thousands of people that are evacuating the mall, that certainly is possible and probably probable that there were some minor injuries to individuals that were injured during that incident, but I'm not aware of a specific incident. I know that there was also reported yesterday that there was a stab victim that was a part of this incident, but we believe that now was a part of the incident that actually occurred with the assault.
Chief, can you touch on the traffic accident that happened before?
The traffic accident happened afterwards, actually, and that's where we were able to match up the individuals that were involved in the accident, one of which fit the description that was given of the individuals that fled the mall, and it was from there through the quick work of our uniform division and then putting that with our trained detectives that we were able to put those pieces together and determine that this was a high probability one of our suspects.
Chief, are more arrests possible today?
That's possible as we continue to learn more about what went on there, as we continue to review video footage, making sure that we've ran out all of the ground balls as it relates to this case, that's possible, but we believe that we certainly have the individual that was responsible for the shooting yesterday.
And where exactly was the crash that occurred?
The crash that occurred, what I believe, was at Franklin Street and Harold. Yes, sir.
Mr. Shanks?
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you, ma'am.
You mentioned the misinformation about the fireworks.
Yes.
Why did you guys tweet out that there was some sound of fireworks and that there were no injuries?
Well, our initial information when we responded, some of the people that they were giving us information, that was the information that we were receiving. As you can imagine, there's a significant amount of pressure for us to get out some information. When you have tens of thousands of people in a mall, we want to try to clear that up as soon as we possibly can. As you all know, that when we do our press conferences, one of the things that we often say to you is this is based upon preliminary information, because we're getting a lot of pressure from our good media to give us something to put out. Rarely is your initial information 100% accurate. So based upon what we knew at that time, that is what we had, and it turns out that it was inaccurate, that we thought it was fireworks, but it actually was a shooting.
Chief, any additional information on why this shooting even at the mall in the first place?
That I don't know. Obviously, I don't know if they plan to be there at the same time. That's some of the questions that we certainly will have to answer as we prosecute this case.
How long did it take, Chief, from the time that you all learned about what was happening to restore some type of order and normalcy to, relieve shoppers that, this is, all set, you're not to worry?
We were on scene within seconds of the incident coming out. That initial panic, there's several minutes that go where people are trying to flee the mall because we don't know what we don't have. We're trying to secure that location where we believe that the shots fired occurred. And then we located the victim a few minutes within arriving there. So I would say probably within the first 5 or 10 minutes or so, we were trying to effectively, safely evacuate the individuals from the mall there. I would say certainly within a half hour or so that the mall was probably close to being evacuated, but that was a decision that we made on the ground, and we felt it was best to do that.
Is that why there were two waves of evacuations?
Well, you have to understand there were people in the mall, and then there were also people that were in the movie theaters, some of which who had no idea what was going on outside. So when you consider the size of that mall, I believe it's the 5th largest. Oh, Wilson, I don't know what the number is. It's a very large mall, very nationally recognized. So when you consider the number of people, then there were multiple waves of individuals that were actually exiting.
Mr. Shannon, you said there was a PA message that went out in the mall. Can you describe what that message said?
I wasn't there last night, but typically our training is to orderly evacuate, to head to the nearest exit and leave the facility. In addition to messaging that went out. Messaging that went out to the individual tenant spaces.
Was there any other communication how do you communicate this to the individual stores, mall management? What was the communication process?
We have a method to distribute information to each of the individual tenants electronically. So that went that way, and that's part of our training that we do throughout the years. Practice closing your gate, locking your door, and then talk about how to safely evacuate and the need for an evacuation.
Mr. Shonik, in regards to the mall security, what do you think needs to change moving forward and improve on Destiny's end?
Security's always been our #1 priority. I mean, I've been working there for years and years. Every day, it's top of mind. So we'll go back and we'll review what happened, and if there are ways that we can prevent it, we'll certainly put those into place.
Mr. Shonik, what would you say to people who are somewhat shy of going to the mall now because of what happened?
I would echo what Chief Buckner said. I think for years, we've always been a very safe facility, Millions and millions of visitors a year from all over the state, all over the country, all over the world visit Destiny, and I encourage them to continue to visit.
I'm not sure if it's done anymore, but you consider adding any type of metal detectors to prevent any violence from going in?
I would never say no to anything. I never have. We'll have to see. There's a lot of ways to get into Destiny USA.
Chief, moving forward, I guess what do you really say to the people who want to carry a gun with them to the mall? Because that happened last time.
Obviously, that's that whole slippery slope of Second Amendment and who should be armed and who should not be armed. I'm a proponent of responsible, legal gun ownership. I don't think that you need a gun to go and purchase the new iPhone 11. I just don't think that's necessary. Obviously, people make decisions as to what they can legally do and where they legally carry a weapon. I don't think that's necessary to carry that in Destiny USA. Leave that to the trained professionals. When you look at our response from yesterday, and we're sitting here less than 24 hours later with an individual who's sitting over in the county jail responsible for this incident, I think that we have shown through our behavior that we can do an effective job of addressing these kinds of issues. I think it's impossible to prevent everything, but given our response to what occurred yesterday, I think that we've shown that we're more than prepared to address these kinds of issues. To the public, I would say don't allow 2 or 3 knuckleheads to ruin our holiday season. An event happened, we responded to the event, event. There was no significant injury as a result of it. Please continue to enjoy your holiday season, but let's be responsible. Keep your eyes and ears open. If you see something that makes you uncomfortable, please let us know, and we will certainly respond to that. Thank you. Thank you. Taking your last question. Yes, sir.
This is just a spelling question. Can you spell the alleged shooter's full name, please?
We will get you that information, but I believe it's TRUAX, but we will get you all of that information for that.
What do you think was really learned from this situation overall? You prepare for situations like this all the time, but something that, you know, especially on the busiest shopping day.
Well, what I learned is that planning, training equals effective execution. We had a plan in place. We trained for this. The mall trains for this. We plan for these sorts of things. You can't train enough for this, but to be able to see our execution of what we plan for each and every day, when we had our moment, our city was ready, and we have to be ready for the next moment. Thank you.